welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to do a roundup of every book I read in 2025, but I am going to start with my current reads because this first one I started reading before the new year and have not finished it yet. But the book is They're Going to Love You by Meg Howry. I am really enjoying this so far. I think I found it as a recommendation on someone's TikTok. I'm really enjoying this. I'm about halfway through right now. And it's essentially about a ballet dancer throughout her life, and you kind of get inside her head. And yeah, the way that this is written is really fascinating. I don't think I've really read a book that has had this exact writing style before, and I'm really enjoying it. And I have not finished it yet because it's currently on pause, because being this is my favorite book and the movie comes out here in a couple of days, it's like less than a week away, I need to knock this out again before the movie comes out. This is my very well-loved copy. Every time I read this, I finish it in like 2 or 3 days. So should be getting done with this one here in a few days, and then I'll go back to They're Going to Love You. But yes, those are my current reads. And as for what I read in 2025, I finished 26 books. I was very much under my goal. My goal was 40 books and I did not hit that, so it will be 40 books again for 2026. But I read 26 books. I don't think I only have like 3 I can show you because I get most of my books from the library. I have a very small book collection. I will usually only buy a book if I've read it. And then of course I have like a couple that are hand-me-down books. I have like one shelf that has less than 15 books on it, so I don't have really anything to show you, unfortunately, but I will talk about the books and I'll put a picture of the cover just so you have a visual. So I started my year off with a book called One Day in December. I love reading like super quick holiday romance books around Christmas time, so that was my first book of the year. And then I was actually a part of 2 different book clubs this year. So this next one was a book club book, and it was Feminist Killjoy Handbook. I read some of this and then listened to some of it on audiobook. Third book was called A Novel Love Story. I was reading this one around Valentine's Day and it was very fun. She gets transported into this fictional town. I think that's in her favorite book, maybe. I think it's the town from her favorite book. And she meets a person in the town, and they fall in love, and it's super cute. The next 2 were book club books, so 2 different book clubs, but book club books nonetheless. The 4th book was The Rats of Nim, which I did not read as a kid, but a lot of people in the book club had, so that one was fun to read. And then the other one was I Am Malala. Great book. If you have not read it, I think everyone should read that book. It was so good. The 6th book was The Buccaneers. I am a big fan of the show The Buccaneers, and I don't know if I was reading this around the time. No, I think this was before the newest season came out, but yeah, I was like, I should probably read this if I like the show so much, so I went ahead and read The Buccaneers by Edith Wharton. I think this one is the Edith Wharton book where she didn't finish it completely, so another author finished the second half, but I really did enjoy the book. The next book I don't actually think I've ever read all the way through, which is crazy, but it's The Hunger Games Mockingjay. I think I've only read up to Catching Fire before this, which I know is wild. So I read Mockingjay, and then I read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and then I read Sunrise on the Reaping, so I was all caught up. Obviously I had seen the movie for Ballad before I read the book, so the book was, you know, great. And then I read Sunrise on the Reaping and I was absolutely devastated. The end, I was just like, I can never see these movies the same way ever again, because the end of that book is so devastating. Okay, this one I can show you. Now, because I don't have a big book collection, I don't really cave when buying books, but I did cave when I bought these. I don't think I owned all of the Summer I Turned Pretties, but I owned the first one and the second one maybe, and those were the older covers, and I was like, I'm gonna cave and buy the new set. So yes, I read all 3 of these. I reread them usually every summer, but I of course wanted to reread them before season 3 dropped, so yes. And the fun part about getting books from the library is that when a new book comes out, it's like you're playing a little game and you're trying to see how long it will take for you to get the new book. So I had put Emily Henry's newest book, Great Big Beautiful Life, on hold as soon as it was available to be put on hold at the library. So I finally got it during the summer and I read Great Big Beautiful Life. This one I also can show you because I do own it. This one I can show you because I do also own this book, but I did a reread of The Great Gatsby. This is by far my favorite book that I was ever forced to read in school, and I don't think I've really read it since high school, so I wanted to revisit it. Phenomenal book. My 15th read was What Happens in Paradise by Ellen Hilderbrand. Ellen Hilderbrand is one of my favorite authors. I just love reading her books, especially in the summertime. I think this one is part of a trilogy, but I have not read the other two. She says that you don't really need to have read all of them to understand the books, but they obviously help with context. I think it's kind of very similar to like Taylor Jenkins Reid and how they all exist in the same universe but can also exist separately. My favorite Ellen Hilderbrand book is The Perfect Couple. I think about that book like probably once a week. I love how it combines like summer romance with thriller, and Ellen Hilderbrand does that really, really well. The 16th book was one that has been on my list for a while. And it's Tuesdays with Morrie. I actually have 5 People You Meet in Heaven right now, but I haven't started it yet. And those are, of course, by the same author, Mitch Albom. Tuesdays with Morrie was so, so good. It is such an important story, and it's definitely one on this list. The same with I Am Malala, that I would encourage everyone to read. This next one is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune, which I believe is her latest book or one of her latest books. This one I was also on hold for a while from the library. You can tell that in the summertime I read a lot more than the rest of the year, but this one was really great. The next one is One Lucky Summer by Jenny Oliver. Yeah, I love a summer book set in a summer town. The next two are ones that have been on my list for a while and I finally read them. So the 19th book that I read was The Wedding People, and the 20th was Magnolia Parks. I did not know that Magnolia Parks was part of a series, but I read that one pretty quickly, and then The Wedding People was also not what I expected, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. The next one is one that was recommended to me by a friend, and I really enjoyed this book. I actually think about it a lot more than I would think, and it's called Love of My Afterlife. Next one is one that has also been on my list for a while. I got into a lot of my reading list this year, so I'm kind of proud of myself, but it's Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Great book. One that really makes you think about your life. I love existential books. And yeah, I thoroughly and highly recommend this one. Okay, number 23, coincidentally, is part of my 23 New Things series that I have been doing. And it was a book that I got on a blind date with a book from a flea market. And the book was called Night Music. It was definitely not one that I would usually go for, and I really enjoyed reading it. Okay, we are getting to the end of my list, so number 24 on my reading list is So This Is Christmas. Of course, we're getting into my winter reads, so I love a good holiday-themed read. I will usually just go to the library around the holiday season and just like pick off of the like display shelves for holiday books. If it's an easy holiday romance book, I'm not hard to please, so I read So This Is Christmas. And then on the flip side, I did a reread of Sunrise on the Reaping, so I did read that book twice this year, once at the beginning of the year for the first time, and then a reread just actually a couple weeks ago. So yeah, the Hunger Games books, especially like because Sunrise doesn't have a movie yet, I think it's hard for me to like remember everything that happened in the book, and there's also a lot that happens in that book, so I was rereading it and I was like, I do not remember this from the first time. So yeah, there's a lot to absorb the first go around, so I'm glad to have done a second read, and I probably will reread it again before the movie comes out later this year. And then my last read of the year was another holiday read, and it's called All About Us by Tom Ellen. This one, I was shocked, but I really liked this book. Usually like a Christmas read, I'm not looking for it to like, you know, top the charts on my lists for the year. But yeah, it kind of explores like the what if concept, which kind of I feel like we're all fascinated by. Like, what if you made different life decisions? Would you end up like happier than you are now? And yeah, I thought this explored that so well, and I really liked it. But yes, those are all the books I read in 2025. We will see if I can get to my goal of 40 next year. We'll see. So, slay.